Hello, in this tutorial I will show how I create stylized grass. It is mesh-based grass and it uses virtual textures for the color. Here you can see how it looks like. And we will try to create something very similar to this. First of all, I will start from mesh creation of the grass patch, and then I will go back to Unreal Engine to set up landscape material and grass material. So first of all, as usual, I start from reference. Here you can see some references from the internet and from the games. For example, this grass is from Genshin Impact, and as you can see, each grass has its unique shape, and better to make small research of what result you want to achieve with grass. So yeah, we go to Maya, and I will start from plane. Try to understand what size I need, like this. I want to have thin grass, and I will add some cuts in the middle, and like this. I will merge the up and bottom parts, and here I have the first leaf, but it's very straight and I want to bend it a bit. I go to deform, nonlinear bend. I need to rotate this tool, and here, oops, I can wait a bit curvature, and as you see, it's not work like we expected. We just need to rotate this tool again, like this. Here I can see that it's a bit too much. Like this is nice. I'm very satisfied with these results. I need to select the grass leaf in object mode and delete history. And that's all I need. Now I will rotate this leaf. I usually put the bottom part of the leaf a bit under the terrain, like this. And now I need to understand the size. We can make it a bit smaller, like this. And now we need to form a nice grass patch, just duplicating this grass and make it a bit bigger, a bit smaller. So just try to create some interesting shape. Maybe something like this. It's okay. Now I will select all meshes and combine them. As usually, use center pivot. So now we have these black parts and we need to remove them. To do this, we need to go to mesh display. Set vertex normals. You need to place X and Z value to 0 and Y value to 1 and click apply. And as you can see now, we don't have these black parts at all. If you're not sure that you've done everything right, you can go to display, polygons, vertex normal, and as you can see, you now see this yellow parts that look up. And if it's not really obvious, you can go to display, polygons, normal size, and make them bigger. If you see something like this, everything is good. now we need to set up pivot like this. And the last part what we need to do, it's UVs. I will use UV automatic, and we need to each of this grass need to touch the bottom part of the texture, because the shader will mask the bottom part, and wind will not affect to this part, and only top part of the grass will have will be affected by wind, and the bottom part will stay straight without anything. To do this, we need to put each grass so it touches the bottom part like this. And that's all. We need to export this. I will call it grass 04. And now we will go back to Unreal Engine. I will drag and drop my grass here. Here we don't need to create materials, do not need import textures, and do not need generate mission collision because we don't need it, and import. That's all. Here's our grass mesh. What we need to do next? We need to set up a material for it. So oops. Yeah. Here is my material for the grass. That's all we need to set up. Before we will go to virtual texture setup, we need to enable this function in Unreal Engine. We go to settings, project settings. Here you can type virtual. And here you can see enable virtual texture support. You need to make it true like this. And also usually for my scenes I disable distance field shadows, or generate mesh distance field like this. And you need to restart your project before you continue working with it. As I talked before, this material is using virtual textures, so before we start making something, we need to create these virtual textures. So usually I create another folder for this needs. I think I will also create a new scene. To make this process more obvious, I will go File, New Level, Default. We don't need this. So I will create new folder and we'll call it RVT tutorial. Here we need to right mouse button click materials and textures, and here we have runtime virtual textures, and we'll call it color. Я назову tutorial. And now we can open it and make some basic setups. Size of virtual textures K to K, size of virtual tile 1K, and here we have base color, normal, rough, and specular. We'll leave it as it is and save. And we need one more texture for the height map. We go with the same material textures and virtual texture and call it here. We also make the same 2K, 1K, and from this list we need to choose world height and save it. That's all that we need to do with virtual textures. Is the basic part. Now we need to create landscape material or landscape. We'll go here, create. Here we'll also change settings for movable. So yeah, here is our landscape. What we need to do next? We need to go to landscape, scroll a bit to find the virtual texture, and press this plus 2 times and put our textures here. What next? Usually I create a folder called RVT, and here we need to search for virtual texture volume. We need 2 for color and for height. We will put it to this folder and rename. We can call it color and height. Now we choose color and place it here. Here we need to select what size of this bounds we need. We need it as big as our landscape is, so we just use this tool, select, click on the landscape, and here you can see that we already link it, and we click set bounds. The same we do with height. Don't mix the textures, color to color, height to color, or height to height. Here the same, set bounds, and that's all set up that we need. Now we can go to our landscape material and we'll create our landscape material. Here is very simple material only for base colors. I think maybe later I will show how to create the same material with textures, but it will be in another video. We will have something very similar, very simple. So first of all we create colors. I use 3 colors. You can have as as much colors as you want, but don't make them a lot. I think 5, 6 is more than enough. So okay, to create the color node we just press 3, convert to parameter, call it as we want, and here we change the color and we make it 3 times. The next step is layer blend. Right mouse button click, landscape layer blend, and here as you can see I have 3 and here is 0. To add them we need to go to these settings and press this plus button as much times as we need. I have 3 textures, so I will press it 3 times. So first if you click this small triangle, you will see all set up for each one. So here you can see that first one is called grass. It has alpha blend, height blend, and weight blend. We set up weight blend, and that's all. We just need to add name and set up weight blend. I will show it here also. So name grass and weight blend, that's all. Go to the next. I will show it here, weight blend, and the last one, weight blend. That's all we need. Now we have roughness. Parameter as usual, click S as a snake, call it roughness, and set up here parameter as 1 and plug into roughness. And the very important part is this runtime virtual texture output. You can use virtual textures with any landscape material that you have. To do so, you need to create this output and just link your base color normal map to this output. To create it, you just need to type virtual textures, and here we have runtime virtual texture output. Here it is. To create this node, we just need to right mouse button click and type world position, and it will be here, world position. This node called mask, component mask, and to mask B we need to turn off this button and press here. So here we have mask B. And that's all set up for landscape material. Then we need to go here and create material instance. Here I have it already. And now we need to select our landscape and just drag and drop this material here. If everything became black, it means everything is good. Now we go to landscape, paint, and here you can see our materials, but they are not active. To make them active, we need to to add them to our scene. First of all, I will create new folder and call it layer info. And now we need to select, the first material we select will cover all our terrain, so think about it. I will choose this middle one because this color of grass is the most beautiful for me. So, and I use white blended layer. I select my layer info folder and save. As you can see, everything became green. The same with next one, white blended. And here the same one. And that's all set up that we need. Now when we will choose the color and start paint, you see that we have green, light green, our usual green. That's all we need. And when you will return to our textures, virtual textures are a bit tricky, and as you can see, a color texture is black. Even when I press set bounce, it's still black. Sometimes it helps when we go to landscape, sculpt, and try to sculpt something. Go to color, set bounce, hide set bounce, and as you can see in hide color and in this texture, now we see the colors. So everything is working. Now we can return to landscape, sculpt, choose flatten, and just remove this because we don't need these shapes. So everything is ready to place the grass. First of all, we need to create material for grass. And here's my setup for the grass. I already showed it to you. All you need to know is color. RVT color, it's the color of our landscape, and the grass will be the same color as landscape colors. This one setup, as you can see, it moves the texture with different color, and you will see nice wind line on the grass. And wait, I will show what I'm talking about. Oops, we'll save this file, save current as. As you can see, here on the grass is something moving. On the dark parts you can see it more obvious. Here you can see is the light texture is moving around. And this is a kind of wind effect that gives a bit more variations of color to your grass. And it looks like the wind is blowing through grass and it's a bit moving. So this effect is nice, but if you don't want it, you can skip that part. Wait, I will open tutorial scene again. If you don't want to have this wind line, you can just do not add this, just plug in color to base color, and that will be all your color setup. Here we have some setup for wind and to fix the normals, because if we will not add this part, our grass will be black. No, not black, but very dark, and it will not work nicely. So we'll start from the color. To create this part, we need to right mouse button click and type virtual, and here you have runtime virtual texture sample parameter, and we'll call it color for color, height for height if we will use it. So just name this as you want, and here you need to place the texture that we use. So wait. We can go to our virtual textures, and for this we need only color, and we just place it here. So like this. I will not change it in this shader, because we will also we can change this texture in instance as well. So next one is wind color. It's the color of our wind line. Just press 3, convert to parameter, change the color, and here you go. So next one is this wind line. So our absolute world position as usual, world position, divide node. This wind line parameter is S, and you can tap the name and default value. Here is the same one. Mask node I already showed. Component mask, and here RNG. Here is the panner node. It's a node that will move our texture. So panner, and that's all. And wind noise texture. So before add this to our shader, we can create this noise texture. To do this, we need to go to Photoshop, create new file, for example 1K for 1K. We fill the background with black color, create new layer, and fill it with white color. Now we go to filter. Oh, we need to select this white layer, go to filter, render, and choose fibers. Here you can play with setup, randomize it, maybe you will find something interesting. I will leave it like this, something middle gray. Okay, and now we need to make it a bit interesting shape. We can go to filter, distort, I don't know, twirl. Okay, filter, distort, what we have here, also interesting wave. Maybe not so crazy. Okay, also we can go to filter, liquify, and here also play with something like this. But be careful with the borders. Okay, I'm happy enough with these textures, but now we need to make it so tileable. To do this, we go to filter, other, offset, and we need to type, because we have 1K textures, we need to move it to the half, so it's 512 to 512. Okay, and now we need to fix this part. To do this, I use this smooth healing brush tool. Select our texture. Sometimes it works well, sometimes not really well, but anyway, it's okay for our purpose. We can also go here to patch tool and do something like this. Oops, the wrong method. Do something like this. That's okay. So now we have the stylable texture and we need to save it. File, save as. We can save it as Targa. Tutorials. I will call it wind noise. I don't remember if I have this textures or not. And now I will import this to Unreal Engine. Just drag and drop. When you have virtual textures support on, sometimes you will have a bug when you import textures to Unreal and they are very blurred and you can see VT letters on the right bottom part of your image. To fix this, you need to right mouse button click and go here to convert to regular texture, not to virtual but to regular, and you will fix your problems. So here we have our wind textures. We will just drag and drop it here, right mouse button click, convert to parameter and click it wind noise like this, and that's all we need to do to achieve the same one. And all of this we need to plug into LERP node, linear interpolate, here it is, and we plug in this to base color. So what we need to do with this one? To create this node, we as usual press 3. Here is our node, but here we can make the settings visible and press 1 for blue, and we have the same one. For this one, as usual, and multiply, it's just M on the keyboard and you will have multiply node, and we plug in this to the normal. And the last one is simple grass wind setup. It's the node, as usual, simple grass wind. Here it is. And I can tell one interesting thing. If you right mouse button click on this ring, you can click promote to parameter, and you already will have a parameter with good name. Just say default value and that's all. So you already know how to create these parameters. If you don't need to have the last one as parameter, you can just click 1 and you will have the same one node. And for this one, this is the part that masks our bottom part. That's why we UV the grass as I showed you before. To create this, we need to type texture coordinate, here it is, mask node as usual, component mask, we need to leave only G, and one minus node, we have the same one, and set up it like this, and put it to the world position offset. That's all we need to set up our master for grass. What we need to do next? Oops, the wrong folder. We need to create a material instance. Right mouse button click create material instance. Here I already have it. I will make a copy of this material because this material is used virtual texture for previous map. For new map we need to have already another virtual texture, so we need to replace it. here is my instance setup. Here you can see that I can plug in here a new wind noise texture if I want, and I also can change the virtual texture. So I go to our textures and we'll just drag and drop it here, and our wind texture as well. So here you can also change the wind color, wind intensity. Here is wind line size, wind line speed. It's about these textures. You can play with the size of this texture because if you want it more intense, less intense, you can play with these parameters. And now we need to come back to our grass. Here it is. And all we need to do is just to set up a material for it. And as you can see, it's a bit different, but no worries. Now we will go to foliage and just place this grass here, add some setup, for example 1 to 1.5, and start to paint. Very important thing is to turn the shadows off. You can scroll a bit down and here. And as you can see, the grass is now has the same color as the texture of our landscape. That's how it works. So what we can do next? First of all, if you want to change the colors of your grass, you need to go to landscape instance. Here it is. I will create a copy of it. And if you change the color here, for example, for pink, as you can see, everything is also changes. That's nice to have this feature, because if you want to have autumn, winter, just few clicks and you already have it. Winter grass, for example, autumn grass, make it a bit orange, and here you have autumn grass. As usual, it's hard to find good colors very fast, so I will just make everything back. And how you can make this grass looks better. You need to go to landscape, paint, select our textures, and make this tool strength a bit smaller, brush size also. And we need to make like how to say it, these stripes. So dark light, dark light, dark light. Then it works really nice. If you have some problems and you see that it's not really work good, just go here and also set bounds one more time. And as you can see, now everything is fixed, because before this grass is not really matched to the color of landscape. Now as you can see, we already have this wind moving through our grass. If you want to make them bigger, we can just, as you can see, the texture is scaling. We can also play with color. But it could be very intense, so as you can see now, texture is so big, so it's covered almost all grass in the scene. Okay, let's make it a bit less darker and make the texture smaller. like this. But I like more darker colors. To choose right colors, it's also not very easy task. So like this. And also, if you want to make your grass more interesting, you need to play it with sizes. You need to go to foliage and set up it, for example, now for 2 and 3. Make the brush smaller. And in these borders with lighter and darker, you can place more higher grass, and it will have interesting effect of volume. As you can see. So yeah, that's how it works. We can go back to our previous scene. Here I use all the same method. Also, we can go here, make it bigger, and remove some my old grass. And we can take the grass that we created before, this one, but we need to change the texture. This one. Oops, not this one, this one. And we need just drag and drop our new grass, make small setup, maybe 1.5. And here we have, as usual, we need to turn off the shadows. Cast shadows, and maybe bigger. And as you can see, everything is working the same way. Here we can also make the brush smaller, make it 2 to 3, for example. Go to landscape, paint, and add the same colors. Here our new grass, here is old grass. As you can see, this grass has a bit triangle shape. This one more grass I made before, it's almost the same that we made. So yeah, you just need to play with shape to understand what shape you want to achieve. That's how it works. So I wish you good luck with your grass. Goodbye.